We're going to call the meeting to order at 7:35. If we could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
So we did not prep for an opening tonight, so I'll just quickly open and welcome everybody. There's nobody in the room with us from the public, but those of you online, please engage with us tonight, and we're going to be looking to you for the public comment. And with that, just want to congratulate the Philadelphia Eagles on their Super Bowl win. Don, if I can ask you later, just to go over a few things if people are planning on attending tomorrow, what to expect at the Thorndale train station. And I know we put something out online, so if we could, before the end of the meeting, just put something out about that. So everybody should be prepared. It's going to be a cool day, so dress warm. And let's go enjoy the day. So let's get to work. First thing is, do we have any citizens to be heard? At this time? Okay, we'll move on to Township Manager.
All right. Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you. Have a few items to discuss this evening as it's the workshop. Obviously, trying to hold a lot of the action items toward the business meetings, but this is where we can discuss and ask questions. First three, Johnny Huggins would fall under his category as far as more details. However, unfortunately, he was unable to attend this evening. But I have had multiple conversations about this and can certainly go into background. The 1.1 mower purchase, as you may recall, last year when we were entering into the mowing contract, that the price did increase pretty substantially prior. There was a request to look at some of the items in that bid and see if there was any room to take on some of that potentially for long-term savings down the road. The one that was probably the most expensive, I think, of the entire bid, it was about $7,000 last year, was the Amtrak, the portion of Amtrak right-of-ways. There is a certification process that is required in mowing on right-of-ways. We did look into it. It's not incredibly extensive. Anyone to get a certification, you have to watch a video and take a test to be certified. And speaking with Mr. Huggins, PL staff would be able to handle this. Obviously, if the board would like us to take that portion of the mowing contract on and remove it from this year's contract bid, we would need mowers. In speaking with both looking at different options of mowers, felt a commercial mower would probably be the most appropriate for two reasons. A little more sturdy, bust, so it would last longer rather than it would be a drive shaft rather than a belt. Would also, in addition to right of way, called the contract up at the farm with the farmer, moving the agricultural land in about 10 feet, and we'd be responsible to mow that area as well. Rather than put that in the contract, they would be able to take this on. Spoke with Lisa. We do have the funding available thanks to good work of the chief and getting grant funding over the years, and every department really. We've been very successful in getting grant funding. So there's quite a bit of funding available. Capital Equipment Fund to cover this. So this is open to discussion if we could remove it from the contract for 2025, and if it would be one mower or two mowers purchase moving forward. Benefit of two in discussion was less staff time because we have two mowers out at once, and then if one would happen to break while it was getting repaired, we would be able to continue to do.
I think you said talking about 8K for the contract.
7-8.
7-8, and we're looking at I think 17.4 for a mower, so that's like 2.5 years of the mowing contract, it could keep going up. And I think that's a wise choice. Would this be competitive with the 11-foot?
It would be a little more nimble.
Any other questions?
I think it would be a wise decision because, we gotta start thinking about sustainability and in future, being able to, take care of these things ourselves internally and to use the money while we have it to, invest in the equipment. Yeah, and we said we can also do the farm with this equipment as well.
Once we have the mowers, yes, there's other areas of the township we always take on future years or current year. Farm would be one that we recently added. It's
And the
new,
golf course if we needed it,
the backup there as well.
Mhm.
Yes.
I think it would be a good idea for us to purchase the second mower while we have the money. And two, while they're still making the mower.
Mhm.
Because
Or
from what I've seen in the past, it sometimes takes 6 to 8 months before you get the actual product. So,
That's-
if for any chance we need it for something else in the meantime, we'll have the money. But looking forward, if you have the money, it'll save time in the end to get the projects done that we need to get done. I think it's well worth to invest it into the second mower.
Can you just clarify? I don't think we have the first mower yet. I think this is about buying
No,
one and.
they were
the second.
buying one,
We don't
right.
have any yet.
correct.
And the mowers we did check that there's no lead time. They do have the equipment on site.
Okay.
All right.
Love it.
Thanks.
Are there any other
Friday.
comments? Are there any questions from the public? Okay.
No, Tom, we can't mow your lawn with it.
All right, I will entertain a motion to approve the purchase of 2 mowers.
Quick,
Yes.
we're just doing discussion. We'll
Okay,
do the action item at the end of the month.
Okay.
When the advertised
Okay.
discussion. We probably should have. Went very well.
okay,
Yeah.
I should have had an action item on there just to be.
okay. That sounds good then. All right, next is 1.2 street sweeper rental.
Yes, thank you. Last year, this again is Public Works, rather than in the past, we would contract with the street sweeper that would come in post-winter in order to get excess salt. It helps get poor and just helps clean the street, helps clean the township. And looking into it, it actually was a cost savings. It ended up costing us in past year about $20,000 for that month
Wow.
contract out. By renting just a truck and having staff do the work. They know the roads, they know the neighborhoods, they know the community, and it was a lot cheaper.
Makes sense.
The came in about $5,000-6,000 under contracting the cost. This year actually it came in. I'm looking for the actual under 10,000 for the same service. So we get the truck for the month. Slap a magnet for the township seal on the side, so everyone knows we're the ones doing it. Look forward to moving that forward. As long if it's a $10,000 savings overall, and had a lot of success with it. That's last year.
Okay. Any other questions? And this is just a discussion item? Okay,
Because there were
So-
2 bids on there, so that would be the lower.
The
of the
lower
2.
one, yeah.
These are all great budget massaging
Mm-hmm.
actions.
There were 3 bids.
are there any questions from the public on this? All right, any other questions from board members? Seeing none, we'll move on to 1.3 trailer sales on municipal bid.
This is again Public Works. We have 2 trailers that are older. One's from 1988, from 98. We've since purchased newer trailers for equipment and whatnot, and looking to see if we can put on municipal bid and get any funds back for the township.
I don't think any argument there.
Yeah.
Oh, never. They're old.
Move it forward.
Is there any questions from the public on that one? No, okay.
That's good.
All right. Next is on to 1.4 Rob Consulting engagement letter. Maybe we should talk about 1.4 and 1.5 in the same because they're basically related.
Mhm.
So I guess I'll start, and then Ray, if you want to jump in, I'll start on 1.5 first. So the cost sharing agreement, I don't have it in front of me. At the last municipal group for EMS, we finally agreed on what our call volumes are for the year. And this is just setting out what our donation for the year would be based on our call volume. And so this is a municipal agreement with the 5 other municipalities so that we all know what each municipality is giving and putting in, and making sure that we all pay our fair share. It also lays out the capital costs based on call percentage, which we will be putting into Minquist in order to help them. Was there anything else on that, Ray?
No, I think you hit the nail on the head. And it might be worth, just so everybody knows, the capital costs are kept in an account by the township and only released after that municipal group agrees on any capital purchases that is brought to that group and agreed upon.
So is there any questions on 1.5 on the cost sharing agreement? We're not acting on the cost sharing agreement tonight.
Is listed as discussion.
Yeah, I think because it's listed as a discussion item, we just wanted to bring it up in case there were any questions.
Okay.
So we could gather those to bring them back.
I believe we're like still like 44% of.
It's like 43.1.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah, or 41.3.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Something
something
like
like that. It definitely is what we budgeted.
Mhm.
And as Commissioner Young said, it's more just to make sure a kind of a commitment for the municipalities to make to each other
Mhm.
that everybody's going to pay that share that everybody agrees.
And in that agreement, we took out the VA call volume out of Callan Township's call volume.
Beautiful.
So with the VA in there, our call volume was over 50%. The calls of- So this is taking out the VA. The VA, let me just clarify. So when an ambulance picks somebody up, like we talked about at the last meeting, the insurance or Medicare or Medicaid may not cover the full cost of what it costs Minquist to actually go out there and perform the service. When they're called to the VA pays 100% of that bill. So if the bill is $1,100, the VA pays $1,100. If it's $2,100, the VA pays $2,100. So we all, as the 5 municipalities, agreed to take the VA out because it wasn't a loss leader for Minquist. They were getting paid and they were made whole for their trip out to the VA. So that's why we had all agreed that the VA would come out of Callan Township's call volume, because Minquist was getting full payment for that.
Great move, Joe.
So,
So that should help us tremendously.
yeah, that brought down our costs significantly because the call volume fell by 6-7%. Yeah, so everybody's clear on. So I guess at the next meeting we'll bring up the agreement, the intermunicipal agreement for a vote.
Yes, that would be the plan for both those items, to have them for the board for consideration at the February 27th meeting.
Okay. Was there any questions on? We're just on 1.5, the cost sharing agreement.
This doesn't have anything to do with the basic life services or anything like that. That's something different contract for advanced life services, like when you make it.
So this is Minquist provides basic and advanced life
Right.
services. So this is the payments that we're making out of the EMS fund and the general fund to Minquist
For those calls.
for the call volume, as well as to help them stabilize their financials.
So if I called. and
If
they
you call
send A-
911,
Right,
you're
and they send ABL,
you're going to get Minquist unless Minquist is unavailable. Then the next call, if the next call is based on the location. So if Minquist is unavailable because they're stuck at Chester County Hospital or they're covering for somebody else or they're on another call, then you'll get whoever's closest. Could be Westwood, could be Washington Hills, could be Lionville. You know,
It could be good fellowship.
could be
it
good fellowship. So, but yeah, the main provider of EMS services, basic and advanced, is Minquist for us.
So do we pay a certain percentage of that and then the persons that home that they arrive at, they don't have that additional? They have to pay the cost?
They do. So if let's say if you have Medicare or Medicaid, they pay a certain amount and that's it. The patient doesn't pay anymore. If you or I have just regular health insurance, then our health insurance has a negotiated rate for ambulances. And that may, if you're in cardiac arrest, it may be up to $2,200 for the ambulance ride.
Right.
Your insurance may only pick up $900 of that. You're on the hook for the rest of that unless you're a member.
That additional insurance that.
Yeah, if you're no
Minquist.
a membership through Minquist.
Minquist.
Yeah, so I think it's like $100 for a family or something like
Right.
that. If you buy that $100 membership, then you're not.
Pay the addition, right.
They just waive the rest of the bill. They take whatever the insurance.
Look at that
company-
out there.
Yeah.
People can understand that helps buying that.
Oh, yeah.
Coverage.
And Commissioner Kennedy, it's worth mentioning, say Minquist is out, say you have a membership with Minquist and they're on another call.
Yeah.
So let's just say Westwood or Coatesville has to come. There's an agreement that you won't get billed for that. They accept the
Okay.
ambulance agencies accept each other's
Okay,
memberships.
that's good to know for
Yeah.
the public as well.
Yep.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
All you would have to do is you would have to call Minquist, or you would have to call the Westwood, let's say, and you would have to say I'm a member at Minquist. They would call Minquist and verify that, and then they would waive
And
the.
waive it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Commissioner Young, that's a good point just for anybody else that might be listening. Sometimes it does occur. Sometimes, they don't know. So you may get a bill. If you're a member of another ambulance association you get a bill, you should certainly call and say, hey, I'm a member. Here's my membership number. And then they'll work through the billing companies to get rid of that bill.
You certainly want to pay $100 and not $1,100.
It's one of the best
It's-
insurance policies.
And
the
they've sent
cheapest
them out a
insurance
couple of
policy.
times, so everybody should have received them in it.
Yep.
Twice. Yeah.
Was there any questions from the public on that? No? Okay. All right, so we're clear. We'll bring that up at the next meeting, and we'll vote on that, the cost sharing agreement. We'll jump back 1 to 1.4, Rob Consulting Engagement Letter. So Rob Consulting is a group that the EMS group for the municipalities decided that we should try to engage with. We think we've gone as far as we can as 5 municipalities sitting around the table talking and trying to figure out what to do with this going forward. At this point, we have a handshake agreement. Everybody's not bound into this agreement. And if somebody pulls out, we could be stuck holding a big bag. So we want to make sure that we know what we're doing going forward. We want to make sure that we have an agreement with Minquist that states what they're supposed to provide and what we're supposed to provide. And then we want to make sure that the municipalities all know what each other are providing to each other. Because right now, like I said, we have a handshake agreement and anybody can walk away from the table at any time. And we just want to make sure we know what we're doing going forward. We've talked about it. We're kind of at this point spinning our wheels and we don't know what direction to go forward. So we'd like to bring a consultant in that can give us a direction forward. Do we create a municipal authority that's multi-municipal that would oversee this program going forward? Do we create a multi-municipal agreement like a COG? How do we make this work so that we're not just meeting to meet at this point? As well as I think, and Ray can speak to this, the subcommittee, which is Jack Law, Ray, and Michael O'Brien from East Callan, they kind of also agree we're kind of spinning our wheels at this point because we don't have any agreement with Minquist. We need to know what they're going to do, and we need to tell them what we're going to do. So this consultant would help us put together a plan. The price of the consultant would be split by the call volume. So our volume, our portion of the bill would be higher than everybody else's, but we're the biggest user of the ambulance service. We're 44% of the call volume. So everybody's agreed to split that by the call volume as a fair way to do it.
What's the turnover time on this? If this were to pass here on the 27th, how soon could we be locked in? So make sure nobody walks away.
Well, I don't know. Do you know if any of the other municipalities have approved it at this point?
So Downingtown Borough, I believe, approved it. East Bradford or West Bradford they tabled it for further discussion. West Bradford tabled it because they hadn't been at the last two meetings. So
Okay.
they just wanted a little bit more information. So the sub committee is meeting with them next week, late next week, just to fill them in
Okay.
on a couple questions they had to. We just couldn't get to them in time before their meeting. But I believe Downingtown Borough did. East Brandywine approved it. East Cowan, I believe, is next week. I think their meeting's next week, and they're anticipating on approving it. So we're hoping our hope is by the end of the month, all the municipalities will potentially have approved it. The initial conversation with Rob Consulting was, they knew we wanted to, with the agreement and with the consulting agreement, everybody is kind of pushing to do it as quickly as possible. Still making sure we get a good product, but, as soon as possible so that everybody gets a little better comfort level. And as Commissioner Young said, we're just to a point we really need some an outside look at what we're doing as municipalities is the right thing, the service that we're getting from Minquist, and how we come together to operate as a group and make sure we're doing it the right way, and that we're funding it the right way.
Yeah, that's another big part that I forgot to mention is how do we fund this? Right now we have an EMS tax. Not everybody has an EMS tax.
Yeah.
There is a group out of Lancaster County, right?
Yep.
That they have a authority that sends each property owner a bill, and the authority basically takes care of paying the EMS service. So that's an option too. There's still some legal questions about whether that's legal or not at this point. So we're working through that, and the consultant will look at that as well.
The moment we're good with our emergency.
EMS tax is good, yeah.
Good.
But we're one of the few that has an EMS tax. Everybody else is funding it out of their general fund. I think Downingtown passed an EMS tax.
They did just this year. Yeah.
Topic everybody.
Yeah. Well, and the municipal group and the sub committee, we've basically stabilized Minquist. They're not going to collapse tomorrow, and now we need to figure out what to do going forward. We've gotten them to a point where, and they've gotten themselves to a point where they can survive. So now how do we make it work, and how do we have a service that when you call, there's somebody there to answer going forward.
Yeah, it's probably worth mentioning, just since we're having it as discussion, some people might be asking, like, why Rob Consulting? What have we, as Commissioner Young said, the municipal group charged the subcommittee with going and looking at this agency in Lancaster called Mesa. They formed an authority, and they're probably one of the bigger ones and the closest ones to us that have been successful at that so far. So we went up and talked to them, and Rob Consulting was the consulting company that worked. I think they started with like 14 municipalities involved in this venture. I think they ended up with like 8, and some of them since they formed have come back. But we figured since that was one of the models we wanted to look at, what better way but to go, potentially use the same consultant that has already done that kind of venture. The other thing is, the guy that owns Rob Consulting worked for DCED doing exactly this before he went out on his own. So, and knows Chester and Lancaster County both. So we felt at least that they brought probably the best fit for this group.
Any questions on that?
No.
And again, this is just discussion.
This will be an action item on February 27th. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Sounds good.
Was there any public comment? Anything else on that? Ray, you good?
No.
Okay. All right. Next on to 1.6 township events, the fun things.
That's right. I will turn this over to the newest employee of Callan Township who has been working with Parks and Rec. Jessica, if you care to enlighten the public on the new event schedule.
Yeah, Parks and Rec just decided what the events are going to be and their dates. They are March 15th, the Riparian Buffer Maintenance Day with a rain date of March 22nd, cleanup weekend March 29th to the 30th. We're going to participate in the Callan Elementary Spring Fair on April 11th, Easter egg hunt April 19th, the first summer series event on June 14th, second one on July 18th, National Night Out on August 5th, Community Day September 6th, Halloween party on October 25th, and then the township tree lighting on the 7th. We also do have like art in the park, 2 bus trips, and plus some more like cleanup crews that we want to plan, but we don't have those like official dates set yet. But those are the ones we have right now.
Do you have bus trip locations yet picked out?
New York City.
Okay.
Yeah, it
just,
went really well.
Just one for the year or
You're talking about
two?
Cape May possibly as well.
Yeah, Cape May was a discussion, but I think it might just be New York City, just because it went so well. But yeah, Cape May was something we brought up, and it's definitely something we could probably bring up again because nothing's been like finalized for sure.
Who's the bus company that you're using? The
Mhm.
Craft?
Yes.
Okay.
It was nice.
Yeah, because the bus company we had prior to COVID closed during COVID. They didn't make it.
Yeah.
So and they were a great company. We used them for many years. Any other questions? The township
No.
events. I see they were in the newsletter, so that's
Mhm,
great.
yeah.
It's already out there and hopefully people are paying attention and putting them on their calendars.
We have already gotten some signups.
Okay.
It's good.
Anything else? Any comments from the public?
Nope.
All right. 1.7 Bondsville Road Apartments Conditional Use Extension.
This is something that was discussed in the fall over the course of last year, bringing it up for discussion tonight. Anticipation of having it on 27th as well. As you may recall, in May of 2024, Bondsville Apartments was a plan that was approved and development wise years ago and had elapsed a 5-year period, came back into a plan development condition. Extensions. The board at that time granted a conditional use extension and then requested the applicant go back and review some of the development changes, ordinances that may have changed over that period. Right after, I believe, extension was granted, there was a discussion with the applicant to see if essentially the location of the project received some concerns from the public, and was there anywhere else potentially for a land swap, for a lack of a better term. Based on the feedback from the public, the board figured it was something worth exploring. If it would have worked, if something would have worked out, that would work better for the community, for the township. Great. If not, we would move forward as planned. Part of that agreement was essentially, while that topic was being explored, the condition, any period of time that took to negotiate, would be credited essentially to the applicant, wouldn't be held against him from a timeline of condition. Believe, and Kristen, please correct me if I'm wrong, about from May to November, is that correct?
Yeah.
So 7 months they're asking for, basically. They continue, there was a lot of discussion about different locations. They relied upon us to give them information about land that the township had to look into what the ordinances would allow. They had to obviously engage their engineer to determine if that would be feasible, and had to come to a board meeting. So it took in good faith, I think it did take 7 months. So they're asking that time frame where they would have otherwise started their land development plans right away and hopefully been in their mind in a position where you'd be, acting on them. They're just asking if they can have those 7 months added on to when the conditional use would expire, which would have been May 29th, 2025. So they're asking an extension until December 29th, 2025 for that conditional use. The thought is that during that time frame, they've already filed their revised land development plans. The only thing that changed from when the plan got approved to now in terms of what they had to update their plan to comply with, the only ordinance change was what we had suspected was the stormwater management ordinance. So they now had their engineer go back, revise their land development plan to adhere to the current stormwater ordinance, or to attempt to adhere to the stormwater ordinance. There's still provisions they need waivers from, but in the next month or so, I guess they're going to plan to come to the planning commission and then ultimately to you for discussion on trying to approve that plan. So this discussion item is just on the conditional use extension, asking that you let them have that 7 months while they worked to, exploring whether the land swap would have worked.
Any questions on that?
No, I think I'm pretty up to. Jane.
Mhm. Do the process.
That's it.
Are there any questions from the public?
Do you want me to ask the applicant to attend the February 27th meeting? Is it something that you think you need input from them on, or is it something I know that they're having to spend money on their lawyer. Is it something that you want Mr. Risman to come, or they have a new lawyer helping them?
I'm not sure because we kind of already agreed to this, prior to, when we asked them to go look for so I'm not sure that they really need to, my opinion, I'm one person. My opinion, I don't know that he needs to come and bring an attorney.
You can make them aware. that
Yeah.
it's gonna be
Yeah.
presented.
Yeah, if he wants to come, that's on him.
Okay. And then I didn't know if there's anything else on the agenda, if I could just have 2 seconds to just remind them. So next week, I guess we have your zoning task force, and we're going to have an executive session after to discuss the Cohen conditional use. So if you guys have any questions in advance of that,
Yeah.
it's really just, I've worked with Ray, I've worked with Lowell, tried to put together conditions that came about as a result of the hearing. Some of the comments from some, county planning commission had some great comments. So if there's anything in reading that, the focus really for your reading is the conditions, to be honest, hopefully to make it easier for you. If there's anything that I didn't pick up or that you're interested in, please send me a note in advance and I can try to add that. But otherwise we can talk about it next Thursday, unless we have 7 to 9 inches of snow. Did you see that? So hopefully we can divert and go to a Zoom meeting if we need to, because we do have to act on that on March 27th, just so remember, or February, excuse me. So anyway, if you have questions in advance, let me know. Otherwise, we'll touch base next week on that. Okay.
Thank you, Chris.
Need
Thank you.
anything else for anything on the agenda? Okay.
Nope.
So,
We need you to have a good night now.
Thank you very much. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Valentine's.
Good night.
Thank you. Happy
Good night.
Valentine's Day.
Thank you.
Don, since it's still your part do you want to mention anything about the Eagles Parade now, or do you want to wait till the end?
I'd be happy to, and I know various departments have been involved in planning for this, but as I'm pretty sure everyone knows, the Eagles won the Super Bowl, which is
Woo!
great. Of
Yay.
course, then there's the follow-up of everything else that goes into a win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thorndale train station is going to be key location for those individuals wishing to attend the celebration. City of Brotherly Love.
It's gonna be traffic.
It's gonna be quite a scene. Is it 4 or 4:30 that the first train?
4:38.
Okay, now,
Or 45.
Or
And
45.
the last one, I think, is around 8:25 in the morning.
Hmm.
Then they start coming back this way around 3 in the afternoon, and that will continue until around.
Hmm.
as a manager mentioned, Director Stackhouse and I have kind of been working on this all week because every day it's changed a little bit. So earlier in the week, we put out the Ready Chesco message encouraging people to use rideshare. There's 400 some spots in that parking lot, but we know that could fill up quickly. So we have auxiliary lighting in place because we anticipate that for a 4:45 a.m. train, people are going to be showing up a lot earlier than that.
Yeah.
And that lighting will go on at 3 a.m. and then back on in the evening. And we have 2 of the police message boards also set up in the area. And we're short-staffed tomorrow, but I have officers in on overtime. There was no other way to do it.
That's great.
Just, to make sure there's no issues with parking or pedestrian walking.
And remind people, don't park in other people's parking lot.
Well, that was part of the Ready Chesco. So you park in business parking lot, you run the risk of your vehicle being towed at your expense. So we included that as part of the message.
And you had to pre-purchase or have a SEPTA key card. You can't show up tomorrow and try to get a ticket onto the train. You're not going to get on. So if you don't have one currently, you're not going to be able to get on the train tomorrow.
Yeah, we didn't have, I don't remember any significant issues in 2018. I don't know if Ray wants to add something. They contacted us about one of the SEPTA had concerns about trash, or
Yeah,
that may have been an issue last time.
Yeah, apparently there was some concerns about trash. They did contact Scott Gill and Abby, and between Scott Gill and Abby, they worked out getting the cardboard trash cans that are being delivered. So they'll be set up over there, hopefully to encourage people to use those receptacles. The railroad will have a crew that comes by, they say, tomorrow at least once, to not only to collect some of that trash, but to police, that area to get more trash. So hopefully they'll follow through with that. We did notify the HOA for Bailey Station, just because it's so close. So we notified them the other day, and as the chief said, we'll have one of our firefighters turn on the lights at 3 a.m. They'll turn them off after the 8 o'clock train. And then in the evening, we'll have one of them go back over right before sunset, turn it back on, and then go turn them off around midnight. The last train's supposed to leave Philly at 11:35 or 11:37.
Right.
So we'll have them go turn the lights off, sometime after they arrive at 12:30 or so.
I just can understand why they were leaving so early in the morning to go in the stuff. The parade starts at 11 and they're leaving at 4:45.
Well,
What do you do? Or
Thank
where
Get
do
in your
you go?
I could tell you what I would do
Your
for that long.
I don't have one at that point. 'Cause
But I
like
probably shouldn't say that.
sleepy up top, like
I guess from my understanding, I mean, I heard the latest reports are that they're expecting 2 million people to come in for the
Yes.
parade. So the problem, I guess and I will give the railroad credit. They seem to really know what they're doing when it
Right.
people moving. If they didn't start that early, they would never get them all into the city.
just wonder what you do when you get
Wow.
there. So Amtrak's going to be running as well. Well, they don't stop in Thorndale,
They
but
they don't stop.
gonna be
So
running as well.
that's a good point though. So they have stopped all normal train traffic. So in the morning, and I'm sorry, you didn't bring a copy of that schedule, but in the morning, all inbound traffic is concentrated only at certain stops,
Mhm.
and there's only so many. I think there's 4.
There's 4
Okay.
stops in Philly.
Yeah. And,
It's- it's,
so outbound train traffic from Thorndale is where usually there's multiple.
Yes.
There is only 4:45,
Mm-hmm.
5:45, 6:15, 6:45, 7:25, and 8:25. So while inbound traffic's going into the city,
There's no outbound.
no outbound. And then starting at 2 o'clock,
They'll start heading back.
they'll start
Yeah,
heading back and
outbound.
no inbound traffic
Just to be
into
outbound.
Philadelphia. So,
Wow.
yeah, I guess they just figured. Now, my understanding is 2018, the last train was leaving and there was still like a couple hundred people waiting.
Wow.
And they just
And they
really buy.
did bring in
Oh,
one
they-
additional train in 2018 to take those people, but I guess they figure if they don't start that early, they won't get everybody. And we certainly don't want a bunch of irate people standing in our streets at
So
5 o'clock.
I guess the anticipation is that people that live as far as maybe Exton, they're all going to come to Thorndale.
Well, yeah, because
Everybody's coming up because they don't want that train to ride past them on their platform.
well, that's exactly right. You know, if that you keep in mind, if that train's full.
It's going to ride right
Now
on
they
by.
said I listened to a press release this morning, but again, everything's been changing. The press release this morning said that the ambassadors for the railroad will be at each station that they are stopping at, and they're not supposed to fill a train up at, as an example, at Thorndale, they're not supposed to fill that entire train. They're supposed to fill it to a certain capacity and send it on,
And go.
Oh.
so that the next station gets some of those people out of there. Whether
So-
that all works
Look.
or not,
So I'm confused because they're going to leave at say 4:45.
Yep.
And then another train is going to come at 5:45. So
Yep.
when that train goes out, one should be coming in on both. Are they going to run on both sides of the train?
now all one way
All one way.
from Harrisburg through to
Yeah.
Thorndale into Philly.
And in around 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
They're coming back outbound.
Yeah.
All gonna come in one direction now.
So SEPTA's coming from Harrisburg or Amtrak? You're talking about Amtrak now?
Which one? I can't
Just-
remember. I'm sorry, I can't
That's
remember
all right.
which one.
Amtrak.
It's only either Amtrak or SEP. Yeah, it's Amtrak. It's a shared line,
Mm-hmm.
but it's only Amtrak that comes that way, I
Right,
believe.
right.
Now they may, for this, they may be sharing, trains. I don't know. But yeah, it'll only be coming from the Lancaster area through to the city. Then another train will come through to the city. And that's all they'll do until 2 o'clock. when-
Amtrak doesn't even stop in Thorndale,
That's
so they
correct.
keep right on going.
That's correct.
You better get Amtrak.
Wow, I don't know how Amtrak's working tomorrow.
It might not be operating at all.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. They may be working in conjunction with SEPTA.
Yeah, so check if you're trying to travel Amtrak, I would check Amtrak's website.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything from them. We haven't been notified of
It
that.
was interesting even getting the train tickets today. We
I
went in-
can't
We
ima- I
went into
can't imagine.
Paoli
Yeah.
and it was like wrapped around the station.
Yeah. But like you said, there's no Downingtown, there's no none of that. So
For Amtrak,
there's a
you can-
large area that will be coming to Thorndale.
There's an old saying, first casualty of every war is the plan.
Yeah.
Being the optimist that I am.
Yeah.
There actually had scouters outside the train station in Paoli selling $10 tickets for $30.
Yeah.
And people were buying them because they were running out.
We do have a public comment.
Okay. Hi, Mark.
Mark, how are you?
Taking its time.
Like they say, the best seat in the house is in the living room.
Yeah.
He should be
Yes,
good
the
now.
back.
Hi, Mark.
Oh, he's Mark, you're muted.
He dropped off.
Promoted in the panelist, but he looks like his mic is
Those that didn't get paid off tickets for stuff that does look like Amtrak running.
Okay.
They're on there. Up, no. Quite a bunch are sold out. So
Okay.
On Amtrak, they done my race book out. I'm over it.
We still have Mark?
Yeah, I don't think we can hear you, Mark, still. I see you're unmuted, but we don't hear anything. I would maybe try the microphone connection in your settings to see what you're going off of.
No. Everyone. I wouldn't go. That's too many people for me.
I know, I'm not even saying.
He's yeah, but I think it might be on like or whatever connection.
And watch it on TV.
Be a part of history.
Well,
Can't be a part of history all
You'll
time.
be home and you won't be in the middle of it.
Nothing.
Cabeza hasta muy mal.
Oh.
You're loco.
That's part of history.
Es verdad.
Did you watch the game? Yeah.
Was it fun?
Okay.
I don't
Mark,
we can hear you more.
Either if you can email us or maybe come out and retry. We'll get back to you if
Oh my.
if it works later. But or you can email us your question or comment. I can read it for
I have a feeling Mark is going tomorrow. It has some important information.
you. We'll definitely try to come back to you though. All right. Thank you all for that. And thank you for your planning all week on this.
Okay.
Next, number 2 resolutions. First is DCNR partnership grant.
Yeah, so the resolutions before for consideration tonight, they did had the opportunity to discuss at the last meeting. There are 2 grant opportunities, one through Department of Conservation and Natural Resources. The second is Chester County Preservation Partnership Grant. They're towards open space, trails, and things of that sort. Beaver Creek Segment 5, this section of the Beaver Creek Trail that would connect into Downingtown, the bridge that would go over Beaver Creek and then extend out to Lloyd Park. Looking, it's been engineered. Total cost is we have
There he is.
Hi, Mark.
I'm sorry that took so long. I'm not a technical wizard, so
That's all
but
right.
I think you already covered it. But Amtrak is sold out, so people going by Amtrak will have to get on Downingtown. So
Okay.
that'll be Downingtown's issue to deal with. They have plenty of parking there, but good luck to the people in SEPTA because that's a rough ride. If I'm going tomorrow, I'm actually driving because it's easier to drive down there than it is to take the train. I got caught down there in the Phillies parade back in 2008, and it was a disaster. So,
Well, thank you.
Have a
You're
good
welcome.
time.
Yeah, joy.
A good time. You earned it.
Just trying to help.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay.
regarding the Beaver Creek Trail. It's been engineered. It's going to be just shy of $1 million. Largest cost associated with it is obviously crossing. We're going to get grant funding. These 2 grants. One, the Chester County Partnership Program is due at the end of the month. We have a little bit more time with the DCNR grant. That's not till April 2nd. But a component of both is a resolution from the board supporting the application. We are looking to go after the full amount for DCNR, around $500,000 of the total cost. There's a 50% non-state match associated with that. Chester County Partnership has a max for parks over 20 acres, 50,000, which doing quick math would leave about 250. We did, however, identify potentially, and we're exploring this, I think will be successful. There's a DCD grant through Act 13 Greenways program that this would qualify, and the application date for that is in May. So hopefully, if everything goes as well, we're going to be able to bring some money back towards this project and have it funded, not in part fully, for construction.
Perfect. Any questions on this?
No.
I have no questions. I just wanted to thank you, Don, for always putting all the pieces together, finding different ways. We don't have these grants yet, but finding ways to come up with the match money.
Yeah.
It's a remarkable job. We're really lucky.
Any public comments? Okay, so we'll do each one of these separate because they're different resolutions. First, I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 2025-6, authorizing staff to apply for a preservation partnership grant from Chester County Parks and Preservation to be used for this one is, that's
Then-
not correct because this is a DCNR grant. So let me rephrase that. I'm sorry. I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 2025-6, authorizing staff to apply for a DCNR partnership grant for segment 5 of the Beaver Creek Trail from Lloyd Avenue to the Cowan Township line.
So moved.
Second.
So moved by Mark Evans, second by Jane Kennedy. Any further discussion or questions? Any online?
No.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 4-0. And then we have 2.2 Chester County Preservation Partnership Grant. And this is I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 2025-7, authorizing staff to apply for Community Conservation Partnership Grant. Oh, this is backwards.
Yeah.
So let me rephrase that again. I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 2025-07, authorizing staff to apply for a preservation partnership grant from Chester County Parks and Preservation to be used for the construction of Beaver Creek Trail segment 5 from Lloyd Avenue to the Cowan Township line.
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
It's moved by Commissioner Tindaro, second by Commissioner Kennedy. Any further questions or comments?
No.
Any online? All right, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none, motion passes 4-0. On to number 3.1, January 30th, 2025 minutes. Are there any questions, corrections, or comments on the minutes?
There was one correction.
Yeah. In the below sentence, the word prayer was.
Okay,
Yeah.
got that, yep. Anything else?
Have to abstain because I wasn't.
Okay. All right, I will entertain a motion to approve the January 30th, 2025 minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Kennedy, second by Commissioner Tindaro. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion passes 3-1 with one abstention. Next is 4.1, check approval. I entertain a motion. First, are there any questions or comments on the checks? From the public? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve checks 53,483 to 53,586. Okay. Okay. Let me take the motion and then I will take a question from the public. So do I have a motion?
So second.
Moved by Commissioner Kennedy, second by Commissioner Tindaro. And any further questions from the board? None, but we do have one from the public. Noel.
You know,
Hang on, we're trying. Can you hear us, Noel?
Hi, can you hear me?
There you are. Gotcha.
Great. I just had a question. I see a lot of refunds for taxes. I think I know, but can you just share what that is?
Sure. So I'll make sure they're all fall in that category, but individuals can appeal tax bills based on to the Chester County office and goes through the court system. And if it's granted, we refund the funding. This is for the assessment of the properties. I will look to make sure they all fall under that category, and there's no exceptions to that. But that's my understanding is the majority, if not all, fall in that situation.
So Noel, Don will get back to you on that. Is
Yeah.
that all right?
Sure, there just was a lot. I mean, I understand you can do that. I just was curious on that. So great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any further questions? None?
No.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Next on to board liaisons. First up is Parks and Rec.
Oh, I think Jessica pretty much did a great summary on what Parks and Rec discussed in my absence. The only thing I wanted to add was that when they do the tree maintenance day on March 15th, that it will include Lloyd Park and Municipal Park, and they have them separated for like time and looking for volunteers to help. Lloyd Park in the morning and Municipal Park in the afternoon.
What
Then
kind
I
of
had
maintenance are you doing on the ones that we
the
planted?
trees.
So yeah.
Okay.
And also I saw 2 different dates for the Lloyd Farm picnic,
Oh, that was my
29th or the
mistake.
28th.
It's the
28th.
28th.
It's the
I
28th.
wrote the 29th. I'm very sorry.
Okay, so we just want to make sure that was. Outside of that, you have the calendar, we have the events, they're on our February newsletter. Everybody excited and always looking for new people to come on board for Park and Recs. And then for COG, it was just a continued discussion of agenda items with COG, discussing old business and looking for new consultants for this year, to bring on board, listening to different municipalities, the things that they're really interested in. And the one thing that I was wondering, and that was of concern to myself, even for Callan Township, I think with emergency services, I mean, is there anything that we can do to kind of build our own network within the township? Because we rely so heavily on Chesco to do our emergency services, and how do we look at educating our residents for emergency crisis as they seem to occur more often? Are we prepared to handle them within our own municipality?
You talking about messaging?
Message.
Well, not just messaging, how do you educate people? Like if there was a crisis, do our residents know, where can you go for shelter? There's a hurricane, what do they do? What do we do? How do we handle our own crisis within our own municipality?
I'm really glad you're bringing this up because I know this is really important to you. This is something that you wanted to get going.
And it's
Sometime.
happening more and more with the climate changing, the weather changing,
Having an
flooding,
emergency plan for the residents is a great idea.
in every area, like an escape plan, like a route plan, like even from where I live. I mean, I don't know what I would do, there's kind of like no way out,
Yeah.
I think there's absolutely an opportunity to work through the COG with other municipalities, and of course, to Director Stackhouse, who had a lot more training, and of course the chief as well. I will say this year we did open up. We had that windstorm over the spring or summer, and there's this power outages. I know
Yes.
the western side of the township was hit especially hard in certain areas, but township building at that point we did serve as cooling over the summer, charging stations. We did
Yes.
open it up to the public. I believe we advertised that with the county, and they help get the message out. But of course, there's always room to spread the word even further.
Yeah, so we do rely on the county a lot for the communication, just because they have the backbone for the communication, with the reverse 911 and with Ready Chesco. But it's funny, it's timely that you mention that. Obviously, what we would do to people that we may not be able to get the message through those avenues, we would go door to door, which we've had to do in different storms. But actually, this Tuesday, we've been discussing with Abby and Jessica about doing more community engagement with our emergency services and the community through social media, public events. And I actually, myself and one of my fire marshals, has a meeting with Jessica and Abby on Tuesday to actually talk about how we design that and how we get the word out. We're gonna, most of those events you have on that list, we're hoping to be able to attend,
Okay.
hand out flyers and pamphlets, and maybe get some of that community engagement on a local level
Right.
for for people that may not use the other,
Right.
you know, those other methods to
Yes.
get our message.
Like, does every area of the township know their evacuation routes? Right.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And unfortunately, like, that's a difficult thing because it's not always one answer, you know, because it
So
depends. I may
segment,
not want you,
location.
right?
Yeah.
Well, and I may not want you to leave.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Depending on the situation, depending on the hazard, I may want you to shelter in place. So
Right.
that's why I said I think the first step is getting some better community engagement so you can sit with those people or sit with those communities and have that discussion. Listen, I know it feels like you may not know or we're not getting to you,
Right.
but it depends on the situation and how we get to you or how we get that message across to you is going to depend on the situation. Because again, if it's a flood, I may want you to stay where you're at, even though you don't want to stay there.
Right.
I mean, we
Maybe
experienced-
safer.
Yeah, we experienced that, you know, during Ida.
Mhm.
You know, our biggest thing then was to some people, stay where you're at. We will get to you if we have to. We haven't forgot about you. So I think that community engagement is very important. And like I said, it's timely. We've been talking about it for the last couple of weeks.
Oh, thank you.
And getting people to sign up for Ready Chesco, because that gets you direct information
Yeah.
as timely as possible.
It does.
There's
It-
people that don't have that access
Right,
to
yeah.
that network.
Yeah, I think again, there is a segment of population that we probably have to do some grassroots because they may not use Ready Chesco or
Right.
they may not have that functionality to do
phones.
that. Or even the reverse 911. You know, we do know there's some people that don't have house phones anymore, or some of them might
Right.
not have cell phones.
Right.
And I think we do have to get it out in the community to be able to, you know, get those people to understand.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you.
Anything else for COG?
That'd be all. Thank you.
Okay. Paul didn't leave anything for municipal authority, did he?
Not, the only thing I can mention, I did attend that meeting, board on the town meeting house project.
Okay.
And that's been going very well. And I believe that should be going out today, short.
Okay. And George isn't online for Dara, is he? George Chambers.
No, I don't.
Okay.
No.
Okay. And fire board, we have nothing for Paul from that either, right? Okay. Historical commission.
Thanks, Josh. I just wanted to, before I say anything about the historical commission, I wanted to apologize to the residents and everyone here for me not attending our last meeting. I think it's the first meeting I missed. I've been having some migraine issues that are coming, like that one took me out for the majority of the following. One popped up about an hour ago. The chief was looking at me like, why is this guy rubbing his head? But it's kind of slowed me down, getting a little more in my groove and back up to speed, but I just apologize for that. And also, since we're accepting the resignations of 2 historical commission members, I really had wanted to be there for that. Lisa Shields was a wonderful member who had a job change a year and a half ago, and we were holding the seat open for her in case things would change, and she eventually just had to say, stepping away. The other was Dawn Coughlin, who had come back and rejoined us right when we started to get a little speed going. But Dawn is also the president of Old Town Historical Society, and it was really you know, it's overwhelming when you sit on a lot of boards and commissions and you want to serve everyone the best of your ability. So sometimes you just have to say, I can't do this. So, but I thank them for all their service. I want to say, if you've driven on Kings Highway, you might have noticed that Spackman Davis Farm roof is on. It's gorgeous. We're waiting for the snow cleats.
Right.
And the lightning rod, I think, are all that are outstanding, or
The lightning rod, thankfully, is up.
oh, it's up.
Yes.
Okay, so it's just the snow cleats, and the porch and the porch rail is Oh my God, it's really beautiful. So slow down on your way by there and take a look. Last Saturday morning, I was honored to attend the Metro Coatesville History Project, put together by some I'm sorry. See, my brain, once my head starts popping, Lisa Doan Hartley of the, with, Coatesville Historical Commission, and, Jeff Deacon put this together. They had, representatives from every historical commission within the, Coatesville Area School District, area. And even some from outside. Lee Wisdom was there from Euclid. There were people from American 50. There were people there from Community Foundation, David Blackburn from the county. And the reason I'm just saying this is because on their big, beautiful board on the outside, and I have it right here too, they really emphasized that Callan is where everything started. That it all started there and everything around us grew from Callan Township. Embracing that, especially as we move towards America 250, is a wonderful thing. Thank you, Jessica. Yes, the picnic is Saturday, June 29th. That'll probably be a Chesco 250 event as well. It'll be a lot of fun. We're going to have 800 people this time, Ray and Chief. Kidding. The Historical Commission's next meeting is next Wednesday. See, I even wrote December 19th, so I guess, yeah. Next Wednesday, February 19th, right here at the Township Building. We're also on Zoom if you want to join us. And happy Valentine's, peace and love to all.
Just a clarification, you said the picnic's the 29th?
I said the 29th again. didn't
It's
I?
the 28th.
28th.
No, it's
I'm going home.
It's the 28th.
it's the 28th.
28th.
28th. I'm going
Okay.
home.
Okay.
Just wanted to make sure that was clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Next up is Lincoln Highway. We actually met last night. We talked about redevelopment on Lincoln Highway, some properties that possibly have some things going, which will be coming to fruition hopefully in the next couple of months, as well as we talked about the zoning on Lincoln Highway and naming of the two zones on Lincoln Highway. So that's what we discussed last night. We talked briefly about some of the data needed to entice some of these larger franchise kind of brands or corporate brands. You know, they look at rings of people, how many people, how much education, how much money, how much
Logistics.
yeah. So we started looking at some of that data to see if we can entice some of those corporations into Callan Township. Next up, Ingleside Golf Course.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Is there any interest in the old Rite Aid building and what's going on with the old Burger King? Like somebody broke out all the windows.
I would love to see both become restaurants of some sort.
What?
The Burger King, I can speak to. The Burger King had some vandalism, multiple acts of vandalism beginning of last year.
Mm-hmm.
So each time, I mean, we reached out to Burger King's corporate is in like Texas, San Antonio, Texas, or somewhere. We did reach out to them. We got immediate response every time, which I will give them credit for that. Once we were able to make those contacts, they do maintain the property. This last time was they pretty much broke most of the windows or graffitied most of the windows. So their response to that was to board it up, which was probably the best move because they were not only breaking stuff, they were getting inside the building.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
them boarding the windows up has helped that. We haven't had that issue since
Okay.
they did that.
Were they just kids that were just vandalizing it?
We never did find out. There was no evidence. There's really no cameras because it's
Okay.
other than the AutoZone or whichever one that is on the
Yeah.
other side, it's residential after that. So we weren't able to identify that, but based on what we saw, unless you have
No
different-
interest in that.
You're gonna contradict me, are you?
No.
Miami, Florida, I'm sorry, Burger King's
Okay.
But that's
now
one of
my
the,
colleague.
It's sitting vacant for a while.
that's one of the issues that the Lincoln Highway Commission is trying to stress is that this blight on Lincoln Highway, and some of it is buildings owned by corporations
Could
in
afford
the
to just
universe
sit.
far away. Some of it is people sitting on properties they inherited that
Don't
they
care
don't, well, they don't care. They're just gonna pay the tax and wait until the property value goes through the roof. It's a real disservice to this township. I say that with love. If you want to own property here, if you love Cowan Township, you should be contributing to Cowan Township and not letting that go on because that leads to crime and health issues. There was heard about somebody having some using you know what where I'm going with is using the Rite Aid outside as a toilet during daylight hours. So I mean, we got to get this cleaned up. We got, people need to take responsibility for the things they own.
I was wondering if there was any interest. Have we had anyone called about maybe?
Had some kind. I mean, we have folks calling. Like,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
have not received anything.
Okay.
yeah.
Nice building.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you.
Anything else?
No.
Ingleside Golf Course.
Yep.
Today is 2/13/25. Ingleside Golf Course reports a strong 2024, and we are planning on a promising 2025, weather permitting. 2024 finished with $730,000 in revenue and 21,000 rounds of golf, which is robust and promising for the year. Club memberships range from $1,600 to $2,100 depending on frequency of play. There are offers of discounts to Cowan residents, seniors, juniors, family, and veterans. Membership includes unlimited golf cart usage, guest passes, complimentary driving range balls, pro shop discounts, invitation to members only events, and golf tournaments throughout the year. Planning events and fundraisers throughout 2025. Golf course improvements continue, including rebuilding sand bunkers and tree care are current priorities. Considering spring 2025, we will be having Ingleside Golf Jobs Fair. Next golf committee meeting is Monday, February 24th at 12 noon. Just want to say great job, Nicole and the Ingleside golf team for a great 2024 and for planning on a robust 2025. That's it. Thanks again.
All right. Any additional business? I don't see any on the agenda.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all right. Just wanted to say, please check our snowflake lights out on Lincoln Highway. We have about 5 or 6 lights that are out. Check the new plugs that were installed to make sure that they're working so it's covered under warranty.
Thank you very much, and we'll make sure. We're planning on taking the snowflakes down
End of February.
February.
during this month. Yes, and we'll put them in storage, and they'll of course go back up next year. But before we take them down, we're going to check to make sure any of the new improvements that installed on the decorative poles are functioning properly. The warranty does last, I believe it's a year warranty associated with the new units that were installed, the plugs. But we're gonna verify that they're operational. So when we plug them in next holiday season, everything runs as it should.
Good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Any additional business?
Sorry.
Seeing none, we'll move on to public comment. Do we have any public comment?
We did have one hand raised earlier, but they put it back down. So I don't know if he wants to raise it back up. Comment, but no one else.
Okay. Give it another second. Okay. Seeing none, any other additional business or comments from the public or from the board or the staff members here? All right. I will entertain a motion to
So
adjourn.
moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Evans, second by Commissioner Tindaro. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. And just for the record, while it's still live, Paul, I want you to know it was before 9 o'clock when we were on. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night. Enjoy the
you.
parade tomorrow.
Thank you.